Breon, you have sold 309,000 so far this year.
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you know that?
No.
No. Okay. Because you're just busy selling. You don't even know.
Yeah.
How have you done, and maybe this is a weird, but how have you sold that much in, and we're talking this is as of May, by the way, 5 months. What is the key to that, in your opinion?
Well, the key to that, I'd say one thing I do differently is I'm constantly like bookkeeping, I guess. Like I keep a look at how much I got to invest, and based off statistics from the past couple months or weeks, how much my return has been.
Yeah.
So then I know a certain extent like where the cap off is. So I'll always do a certain amount, bare minimum of leads.
Yeah.
And I'll have it at a flow. Like someone mentioned to me in Monte that Michael Field was talking to them about us, how we're constantly buying leads without it having recurring.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that I have is like lead flow is cash flow. Like I hear it all the time. So that's one thing I made sure that I always like stay on top of is I'm always having a fresh new batch of people to talk to.
Yeah. So you're starting with the investment. I know how much I need to invest every week to produce X.
Yeah, 100%. And just I'm always keeping track of that stuff. So that way, even like when new people start off, I can give them the playbook. Like, hey, this is how much it's going to take for you to reach a certain amount. This is how much you'll make. Just make sure you're writing clean business, making sure everyone's on the same page, things like that.
Because it's a numbers game, dude. Like, and once you know your numbers, you can almost take the emotion out of it, right? Like, it's an emotional business. There's highs, there's lows. I mean, when you start out, most people struggle a little bit. People think about quitting. Hopefully they don't. They keep pushing through. But once you know your numbers, your closing ratio, how many people you need to talk to, then it's just plug and play, right?
100%.
If I know if I buy this, if I have this amount of leads, I'm going to book X amount of appointments, I'm going to close this many sales, and on average, here's what my premium is going to be.
Yeah.
And if something's off, it's maybe I didn't have enough leads, but it's literally plug and play with numbers.
Yeah.
You know?
1,000%. That's one thing I'm always being able to stay on top of is just giving new downlines the bare minimum. This is how much you got to do to see this much. Like, what are your goals? I know how to get you there just based off my numbers that I always keep track of every week.
And what are you doing for leads? Social media?
Yeah, so I just run like high intent dripping leads.
Okay.
Just making sure like my leads are there's always some intent behind it. They're always filling out an ad and they're always constantly coming in at the start of the week.
Yeah. Do you have a lead goal? Like, hey, I need to have this many new leads a week, or what is that number?
Bare minimum, I'll say like 60 to 90.
60 to 90 leads a week.
60 to 90 fresh new leads a week.
Yeah.
And then I'll dial those downward once, get a couple of sales, and then I'll call them again upward.
Yeah.
And then I'll go down the list again. And then now I know I actually was able to dial through these intentionally. And then I can pass those on to downlines or new people starting off.
Got it.
So that way they can start getting some capital.
So you call them for what, a week, and then pass them on to someone?
Yeah, I'll say like half a week.
Half a week,
and then towards the end, maybe buy like another lead pack or two.
Yeah.
Like I'm never scared of putting money into myself and my business.
Right.
Never. I'm never gonna like hold myself back.
Were you ever in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the start, I was always thinking about what if I don't make a return.
Right. Which is normal.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to kind of break that mentality?
Once I started running like actually higher intent resources.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of flipped a switch, and I started seeing a bigger return, and I never lost money. I always broke even, or I always gained. So just being able to be confident about myself and like my skill set.
Yeah.
I always know that I'm never gonna be going backwards.
Right.
But I also never look at leads like that anymore. I always look at leads now like there's at least 2, 3, 4, 5 people out of this lead pack, bare minimum, that are going through a financial struggle that I could put them in a better place.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for something more, or they're looking for something that they're throwing money away in. And that's how I look at my resources. I never look at them like, oh, like I might not hopefully I make my return this week, or
Right.
like a gamble. Like I know I'm gonna help at least a couple people in there.
Well, you got to treat it like a business, because if you treat it like a job, it's easy to get in that mentality of, oh my God, I spent this money. What am I? But if it's a business, dude, it's no different than putting gas in your car, right? You can't go anywhere if you don't have gas.
Yeah.
If you're running a pizza shop, you got to buy dough and food and things like that. Like you can't go, well, we didn't make enough last week. I can't buy more, food. I can't buy more pizza dough. Well, all right, what are you going to do next week, though, when people come in and order pizzas? You're going to go, I ran out?
Yeah.
You'll be out of business real fast, whatever you're selling. And it's switching that mentality from a job to running your own business. You're your own boss.
Yeah. And I like to use that analogy a lot, to be honest. I always compare this to like the restaurant business. Even in my sales trainings, just going over the basics. Like you got to have your leads. You got to have your ingredients before you open up shop.
Right.
You got to have a strict schedule. You're going to open up shop at this time, close shop at this time, 7 days a week. And you got to have your resources before people walk through the door, before you start making those dials. Like you got to have fresh new stuff.
Right.
So I always bring it back to like the restaurant business, or just people like fail to put things into perspective as a business. Like they go into this industry thinking it's like a job.
Mm-hmm.
They put in the bare minimum and get the bare minimum out. Like you got to put more and expect to get more out of it.